All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. For everyone who just joined, feel free to tell us who you are and where you're joining us from in the public chat. So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited to welcome everyone to our first Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month webinar for 2014 and our first ever pre-TDVAM webinar ever. Today we'll be discussing what you can do in your community to get engaged with Teen DVAM. My name is Nicole Varma. I'm the Advocacy and Outreach Coordinator here at Break the Cycle. But before we begin, I'm just going to go over some logistics for today's webinar. If you're disconnected from the webinar at any time, just go back to the original email that you got from iLink and click on the link again to log back in. If you have any problems getting back on, please call iLink support. And that number is 800-799-4510. And my colleague Ariel will put that in the text chat right now. We'll be muting everyone on the call and use the chat feature for any questions, problems, or comments you have. You can find the chat box on the lower corner of your screen. It should be on the left-hand side. And you can also private chat Ariel Smith, and you can also, or private chat me, but I'll probably won't see it right away like she will. If you happen to only be on the audio portion, you can email Ariel at asmith@breakthecycle.org. I'm putting that in the text chat also, with questions or comments. We will have a space for questions throughout the webinar. Please chat your questions. If we can't answer them on this webinar, we'll make sure to reach out to you afterwards. We have a lot of ground to cover, and we want to make sure that we can address all the questions. If you run into any technical problems, please send a private chat to myself or Ariel. To do this, click on the gray private tab on the right to the right of the public tab inside the chat box. Double-click on my name, Nicole Varma, or my colleague's name, Ariel Smith, and a box will open up for you to send a private message. We'll also have a poll at the end of the webinar to gather your thoughts. So, okay, I think that's all of our logistical announcements. I will be sending out the recording of this webinar, so don't worry if you missed something. The slides are all taken from our Teen DVAM toolkit. Now, I'm going to just say Teen DVAM or TDVAM, just because it's way easier, and I'll get tongue-tied if I have to say Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month over and over. So Teen DVAM, but all the slides are taken from our Teen DVAM toolkit, and it's available for download on teendvmonth.org, and we'll put that in the text chat too, teendvmonth.org. Please go ahead and go ahead and download that. It's a comprehensive guide. It's going to be much better than the couple of slides that I have. And there's nothing from my slides that didn't come directly from the toolkit. So first, a little information on us and who we are. We're Break the Cycle, the national nonprofit organization whose mission it is to inspire and support young people to build healthy relationships and create a culture without abuse. As the leading voice in dating abuse prevention and response, Break the Cycle has spent the last 16 years developing tools to directly engage youth to create healthy relationships, provide training and guidance to adults who work with youth, and advocating for expanded laws and services to protect young people across the country. We partnered with the National Dating Abuse Helpline to operate Love is Respect, and sort of the goal of Love is Respect is to create the ultimate resource for fostering healthy dating attitudes and relationships. It's to provide a safe space for young people to access information and help in an environment that is designed specifically for them, and to ensure confidentiality and trust so that young people feel safe and supported online and off. Just so you all know, so Love is Respect is really the brand that we use for youth, and we want it to be for youth and by youth. And Break the Cycle is the brand that we use when talking to adults. So any of the resources that are specifically designed to be tabling for youth, they can be found on Love is Respect. So now in its 5th year, Teen DV Month is a national effort to raise awareness about abuse in youth relationships and promote programs that prevent it. Throughout February, organizations and individuals nationwide are coming together to highlight the need to educate young people about healthy relationships, teach healthy relationship skills, and prevent the devastating cycle of abuse. You can learn more about Teen DV Month and find out about the events happening in your area at www.teendvmonth.org. And we encourage you all to put your, we have a section on the website that's a map about all the events that are coming up, and we encourage you to use that map so that folks can find your events as well. Just a little history on Teen DV Month. It started as a week in 2008 and then became a month in 2010 as a national month, and it was so proclaimed by the president in 2011. So using your raise hand option, which is at the top of your, is just above this the chat feature. You can raise your hand. Let me know if you raise your hand if you've participated in Teen DV Month or Teen DVM in the past. And, let me know if you raise your hand if you've participated in Teen DV Month or Teen DVM. I think if somebody could go ahead and put themselves on mute, there's a little bit of an echo. All right. So we have 4 people raising their hands. Great. 5 people. Great. And how many people are familiar with our Teen DVM toolkit, either from this year or in the past? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're familiar with our Teen DVM toolkit. Okay, sorry, I guess I was breaking up. The second question that I asked is how many people are familiar with our Teen DVM toolkit? So either from this year or in the past. So go ahead and raise your hand if you're familiar with our Teen DVM toolkit. Great, quite a few people. That's awesome. Almost half of you all are familiar with our toolkit. That's great. So most of this is going to be most of this webinar is going to be going over the toolkit. And we have made some additions and changes to the toolkit this year. So I encourage you, even if you've used it in the past, to go ahead and download it again, because there are some new things. Like we added a whole section on Instagram. All right. So just a little bit about this toolkit. The goal of this advocacy kit is to give adult allies like yourself the resources you'll need to engage your community, and most especially your youth population, in a discussion of healthy relationships this February. In that toolkit, you'll find lots of artwork that you can use to create posters and flyers and all sorts of outreach opportunities. There's lots of tip sheets with ideas for community activism and outreach events, and tips on using social media. There's guides on how to help youth host an event or info table. There's handouts for youth and parents, community members, and advocates. There's healthy relationship pledges for youth and parents. There's guidance on how for handling disclosures. This is especially helpful if you have volunteers who are not as familiar with this. And there's also a single session lesson plan on dating violence for use in school or classroom settings. like I mentioned several times earlier, that the toolkit is available for free download on the Team DVAM website. Here's a screenshot of what the toolkit download page looks like, and we'll go ahead and put that into the text chat as well. It's a teamdvmonth.org toolkit. I'm just going to wait a few minutes. It seems like folks are having trouble with our audio. All right, if somebody could tell me, is that better if I do this? Is that better for the audio? And Jess, it should be better. The toolkit should be available shortly, and I'll get. It should be available today, actually. And actually, I believe it's already available. We just haven't changed the, hey, it's not available. So we'll go ahead and change that today. I know that many of you are joining us from agencies and service providers, and this kit and webinar are great things to pass on to your volunteers. Hopefully, you all have this information. You probably know this backwards and forwards and can do this in your sleep, but this is a really great opportunity to send this on to your volunteers and get them trained as well. The toolkit starts with facts about dating violence. Just included a couple of them. You can also find this easily on the website. It's one of the easiest pages on the Team DVAM website to access. These are great to get the conversation going. It's great in emails to parents or teachers about events. This is your why, grab their attention. I usually put out some shocking ones for tabling, either to display. They work well in a game as well, either as like a Team DVAM Jeopardy or a test your teen dating violence knowledge. And these are great for adults and youth alike, especially at outreach events. There are a few different sections, so make sure to tailor your stats to your audience. For instance, the lack of awareness section usually hits home with parents. Additionally, there are some great parent-related stats on our It's Time to Talk Day website and toolkit. And if you want to message specifically to parents and caregivers. And you can get to the It's Time to Talk Day website pretty easily from the Team DVAM website. But yeah, if you're looking for to work with parents, there's a lot of great tailored statistics for parents on that website. The next thing you'll find in the toolkit is a healthy relationship pledge. And I see that the toolkit's not ready. I will talk to our webmaster today and make sure that it will be up by the end of the day. So the next is the Healthy Relationship Pledge. There's one for both teens and parents. I only put the teens on our slide. But this is another great activity for tabling or for outreach events. If you can print them out on red paper or even in the shape of a heart, and then every time someone signs it, post it on banner paper, and then you have a banner of all the youth who took this pledge to have healthy relationships. So it's a good visual too. Great, thanks, Ariel. So we've talked a lot about hosting a table. So here's just the next section of the toolkit is how to host an info session. Now I know most of you are professionals who, and again, you could do this in your sleep, but this is a great section to pull out for your volunteers or even your youth that you work with. So of course, choose a date and time when people are going to be there. No one wants to be sitting at a table by yourself. So definitely make sure you get a high traffic area. make a checklist of all the materials, everything you want to hand out, and the quantity that you'll need. Don't forget to include any handouts that you have to print, either from the toolkit or the web. Use color and height to attract people to your table. For example, when I go tabling, I use brightly colored paper for flyers, and I have them stacked in a flyer display stand. You can get them pretty affordably at any of the major office supply stores. Instead of stacks of plain white paper all over the table, it just looks messy and it also looks like work, and we want it to look organized and fun and exciting. If your table is outside, remember some paperweights. You don't want to lose all your materials to the wind, and you also don't want to be spending all of your time hovering over the table making sure nothing blows away. Be proactive, pose questions to the people passing by. Don't just sit around behind the table waiting for them to approach you. Have your volunteers poised in front of the table and ready to interact with your audience. There's some great questions like, how do you define love? Do you believe everyone has a right to a safe and healthy relationship? They're really great conversation starters. This is where memorizing a few of the facts from our fact sheet, like the 1 in 3 teens will experience abuse at some point in their dating relationship. It comes in really handy to just be able to pull out one of these facts really quickly, or even to be able to say, did you know? And start the conversation that way. There's a lot of great printables on loveisrespect.org. We have scores of one-pagers. There's a healthy relationship quiz, posters, and palm cards. All of them are available for free download, and it's at loveisrespect.org/download-materials. And Ariel will put that in the text chat, or I can actually, Ariel. loveisrespect.org. What I do is I will find 5 or 6 of the different one-pagers that I want to use, and I use neon colors because it's bright and exciting, and so I find 5 or 6 different bright neon colors and have a different color for each printout, so that way I know how much of each one was taken. And that's way more exciting, even if it's the same information. It's way more exciting than just white plain paper. I had some pictures. We did, with our National Youth Advisory Board this past summer, we did a training, and we wanted to teach them on doing outreach tables. And so we set up a good table and a bad table of like all the things to do and not to do. And this is a really great training exercise for our youth. And it could be for both youth or for your adult volunteers, just a great visual on what a good table looks like. So download materials. So the do's and don'ts of tabling. So do focus on healthy relationships and healthy self-esteem. We're trying to focus on the positive. Focus on empowering youth and other community members to break the cycle of abuse. Promote the idea that abuse does not discriminate, that anyone can be a victim of dating abuse. This is especially true among genders. We find that folks tend to think that it is only male on female abuse, and this can be perpetuated in tabling. So make sure that you're spreading the idea that it could be male on male, female on female, female on male as well. Encourage people to intervene in safe and effective ways when they see warning signs in their friends' relationships or in relationships around them. Some of the messaging you don't want to include in your tabling, obviously, we don't want any victim blaming or any gore or abusive behaviors or weapons or any profanity or any of that sort. And that's pretty self-explanatory. So raising awareness online. So you can, on Facebook, you can show your support by liking some of our brands, Break the Cycle, Love is Respect, Love is Not Abuse, and then one of our partner brands, No More. And so they'll be having lots of statuses throughout the month. You can you can like any of their statuses or share them, recommend the pages that you've liked on your newsfeed. Share the videos and photos and news items from any of these organizations throughout the month of February. Tag the organization in your post so your friends can connect directly to those organizations. Share links to op-eds and blog posts that your organizations and partners write. You can change your thumbnail, so either your cover photo or your profile picture on Facebook to promote healthy relationships. You can either use the Team DVAM logo or another one, images either in the toolkit or create your own. You can use your status to share facts and statistics about dating abuse, healthy relationships, and Team DVAM. You can invite your friends or colleagues to an event or a campaign and encourage them to do the same. Social media is all about multiplying your reach. So you're one person, but if you get 10 people to reshare it and then they get 10 people, we're expanding our reach that way. Tell your friends and so on Twitter, you can tell your friends and celebrities that you follow and others to talk about dating abuse. You can include the hashtags TeenDVMonth and LoveIs hashtags to ensure that your tweets become part of the national conversation. You can use your local service provider's Twitter handles to share information about your events or publications. Remember that tweets must be 140 characters or fewer, so use abbreviations and link shorteners like bit.ly. I'll put that in the, or tiny URL. That helps shorten some of the lengthy links that happen. And make sure that you want to stay under 130 characters. That's a little bit better so that it gives others room to retweet you. Whenever possible, send thank you tweets to the users that retweeted you. Appreciation goes a long way on Twitter. If you're an advanced social media advocate, consider holding a Twitter town hall or a Twitter chat. We'll be hosting a town hall every Tuesday, so you can always plug into ours. You can also tweet at us. We're at Break the Cycle DV. We're also Love is Respect, and love_is_not_abuse. The toolkit includes a Twitter vocab section, a Twitter 101, and some sample tweets if you're a novice tweeter or a Twitter user. And then this is the new section, our Instagram section. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and more youth and adults are connecting on Instagram. So here are some tips on expanding your reach on Instagram. And again, these are all in the toolkit, so don't feel like you have to write them down and memorize them. So connect your account to your other social media accounts, including Facebook and Twitter, and share your Instagram handle with your friends and followers. When you're publishing your photos, make sure to select Twitter and Facebook options so that it's visible on your other social media networks as well. Use hashtags. You can use the same ones for Twitter that you use on Instagram, but definitely use hashtags so other people can follow along in the conversation. Take pictures at your events, especially if your participants are sporting festive Team DVAM gear, especially, and we'll talk more about this later, but for Wear Orange Day, definitely take pictures of folks wearing orange. Don't clog up your followers' feeds with dozens of pictures all at once. So this isn't like Facebook where you just make your album and you post all the pictures at once. You want to be able to spread them over time. You don't really want to annoy your users with all the pictures at once. But go ahead and take one or two a day. It doesn't matter that it didn't happen instantly. That's a misnomer. It doesn't have to be something that just happened on Instagram. You can do a latergram. You can also follow us on Instagram. We have Love is Respect Official and Break the Cycle. All right. The largest section of the toolkit is the Redefine Love, an Introduction to Healthy Relationships lesson plan. The curriculum provided in advocacy kit was designed as a one-day introduction to dating abuse prevention and creating healthy relationships. It's framed in the investigation stage of advocacy-based service learning, and the curriculum allows young people to recognize the signs of unhealthy or abusive relationships, to define healthy and unhealthy behaviors, and also discuss how their perception of relationships are influenced by their peers and popular culture. It gives you a simple lesson plan that you could go through in the average class time, and there's lots of activity suggestions. My favorite are the buzzer activity and our Love Is activity, where you write, you have papers that say Love Is and then sort of fill in the blanks, which is also a great activity for any of your outreach events and tabling fairs. But we're not going to go into the curriculum or any of the activity guides in great detail today. It's pretty thorough in the guide, and you can always contact Break the Cycle if you have specific questions about implementing the curriculum or activities. So we're just going to go straight into planning a youth-led community event. So a youth-led event is a terrific opportunity for young people to play a direct role in raising awareness among their peers and perform a vital service for their community. It promotes the idea that the youth voice must be included in violence prevention, and it allows youth participants to learn about available resources in their community. Youth-led community events are a key part of social learning, and they can be used in conjunction with the included one-day curriculum. So I'm just going to go over some of the popular ideas. There's a community fair, which you can bring local service providers together to educate the community about issues and the services they provide. You can host the fair at a local school or your office or another community space. You could do an art show, engage local artists to create pieces that address relationships and spark conversation, or have your youth participants create their own artwork to showcase. Posters and photography work especially well for this type of event. You could do a coffee house, poetry slam, or talent show where you bring together local talent. This could be youth or adult. And raise awareness of dating abuse and talk about healthy relationships through song, through poetry, and group discussion. And along with that, you could do a theatrical presentation. You could screen a film or a play about dating abuse and then host a discussion afterwards. There's some links to some really great ones in the toolkit, but we've used Reviving Ophelia and the Yellow Dress, and of course there's the Outrage as well. And all those websites are on the toolkit. You could do a rally or a vigil. You could organize a rally or vigil by reserving a park space or other public space, and make sure you can make posters and signs using statistics to raise awareness about dating abuse. You could do a candlelight vigil in a public park or campus or community center in honor of those who have survived dating abuse and then those who have not. You could also do a town hall discussion, bring in a speaker from a dating abuse organization or a professor who researches dating abuse, if you're lucky enough to have one of those in your area, to present on the topic and then lead a discussion in the Q&A session. And then the toolkit has suggestions on how to help support your youth through fundraising and event planning. It suggests 4 different planning subcommittees and has a planning worksheet to help youth work through and delegate the planning. Disclosures of abuse. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this either. Most of you are fully aware of your reporting duties. The toolkit includes a 2-page guide, which is great for your volunteers or even as a refresher for staff. Kim, that's great. We love that you're doing a team poetry reading. That's awesome. Anyway, here I just put some things that folks can just make sure that your volunteers are thinking about, and even for your staff who don't do this regularly, just make sure that they're thinking about some of these things. And the toolkit goes into a great detail about what they should do before, be thinking about before, what they should do during, and then after if there is something to report. All right, so here's what you can do if you or your volunteers have 5 minutes. You can get the facts. You can go on to teendvmonth.org and learn all about dating violence and the statistics. You can find out why it matters. You can go to teendvmonth.org/dv-tv. You can watch the videos from survivors and advocates and elected officials. In the past, we've had Joe Biden and the president and vice president. They have done videos. We'll see who will do one. And Arne Duncan has done one in the past. We'll see who will do one this year. You can spread the word. In 5 minutes, you could make sure that your friends and family and colleagues know about healthy relationships by posting a message or a picture or video on Facebook, Twitter, or you could even email your friends and make sure that they're doing the same. So you could spread the word in 5 minutes. And if you have a day, or if your volunteers have a little bit more than 5 minutes, a couple hours that they can do, you can conduct an awareness presentation. So you could use the curriculum or the lesson plan guide that's in the toolkit, or create your own to educate and engage youth in your area and promote healthy relationships. The lesson plan can be implemented in under an hour, and it comes with lots of extra activities and suggestions. You can request a proclamation. This is a really great one, a great way to get volunteers involved as well. We have lots of templates on teendvmonth.org so you can request a petition or request a proclamation from either your governor or your mayor or other local officials. We often try to get all 50 states to all of the governors to issue a proclamation, and it comes a lot better coming from you all than if I try and request it from my DC office. It goes much further coming from you all. So go on there and encourage your volunteers to go out there and request it. And it's great to see your governor or your mayor. Even last year, I'm looking at from my desk at the proclamation that the president wrote. So it's great, and there's sample proclamations. There's not too much of a heavy lifting. You can write an op-ed. Again, there's a sample template, but make sure that your voice is heard across your entire community, and not just the folks who are already tuning in to you. There's a great sample and tips on how to write an op-ed, but that's definitely something that you or a volunteer could do, especially if you have a great survivor story or a parent story. Those are really effective. And if there's not one in your local community, there's a sample that you can use. You can start a conversation. It's Time to Talk Day. It's happening for the first time. It's happening actually in February. In the past, it's happened in the fall. So we've decided to move it to be an annual awareness day, actually in Teen DVAM. And it's aimed to generate conversations about healthy relationships and prevent teen dating violence and abuse. So the idea is for adults to be pledging to talk to the youth in their life and take the pledge that they will actually have that conversation. And there's great conversation starters and how to have that tough conversation on the website. And of course, we have another toolkit just for that on how to have the conversation and how and also how to have an event for It's Time to Talk Day. But you can find all of that on that website, which is itstimeToTalkDay.org. Yes, we have lots of websites. So those are things that if you or your volunteers have a little bit more time, more than 5 minutes, those are things that they can be doing. If you have even more time than that, here if you have a week or more, or you can be involved more than one day, you can start a poster campaign. That's perfect for schools and youth groups. Make posters to raise awareness about February and the services at loveisrespect.org, or you could use the Love Is activity to unite everyone in your community to promote healthy relationships. And again, the Love is activity is in the toolkit. It's in the curriculum guide. You can host an event. You can help the young people in your school or community organize a press conference, or again, like the Poetry Slam. You all had mentioned some really great events. And again, the host a youth-led event guide can help plan out your idea. You can host an info table. You can reach out to your community and peers and spread the word to an interactive tabling event at your school. You can participate in Respect Week. So the Love is Respect National Needs Advisory Board picks a week, and they raise awareness around the country for the whole week, and it's youth-led activities promoting healthy relationships. So one of the days is Wear Orange Day. I believe that is Tuesday the 12th. Let me make sure that that is a Tuesday. So it's Tuesday the 11th. Respect Week is Monday the 10th through Friday the 14th, so it'll end on Valentine's Day. So we encourage everyone around the country to wear orange for Respect Week and wear orange on the 11th. And there's also another thing that you can do to participate in Respect Week is join the National Respect Announcement. And you can check out the Respect Week guide, again, at our website, teamdvmonth.org, for all the details. But definitely a great way to engage the youth and the schools in your community is by getting them involved in Respect Week. And there's something that they can do every day of the week. You know, one day they wear orange, one day they do national school announcements, you know, maybe one day they do tabling. There's something that they can do every day throughout the week. And also, if you want to join us, we'll be putting on a 4-part webinar series. We're going to be having, Sally, to answer your question, that the Respect Week is just Monday to Friday. So it's the school week. And so then you can join us for a 4-part webinar series exploring dating abuse prevention and response. We'll also have 2 of them will be specifically youth-led. And where you signed up for this webinar, you can find those webinars as well. And there's one each Wednesday. So we'll have Twitter Town Hall Tuesday and Webinar Wednesdays. We'll be doing, so we're having thematic weeks. Let me pull up the themes for you all. All right. Oh. Well, you can find the themes under the Attend a Webinar. But on Mondays, we'll be sharing facts through our social media and some infographics. On Tuesdays, we'll be doing Twitter Town Halls. On Wednesday, we'll be doing webinars. On Thursday, we'll be featuring a partner, doing a feature who's doing really great in this area. And then on Friday, we'll be working to share your story. So we hope we get really great entries throughout the week that we can highlight. So again, and we'll talk more about this on our next webinar, which is in 2 weeks, about what Break the Cycle and Love is Respect are doing for Team DVM. And you can learn much more about Respect Week and all of the things that we're doing then. But you can go ahead and see the first week we're talking about youth perspectives on dating abuse. The second week is more about legal response, so it's Know Your Rights. The third is about tech abuse and the role of technology in dating abuse. And then the fourth one is also youth-led, and that's how the youth activism and engagement and tips on how to reach youth. So the first week and the last week are going to be our youth-led weeks. Definitely tune in. All right, so that concludes my presentation. I've included my contact information if you have any questions for any of us at Break the Cycle. And I will send out the recording, but not the slides, since they're all taken directly from our toolkit. which you can download for free. It's probably quicker than I'll be able to send by email. So that's my presentation. Does anyone have any questions now? Go ahead and use the public chat or the private chat if you have any questions. All right. Well, I don't see any questions yet. Terry says that she is looking for the high resolution JPEG of the Team DVM logo, and that can be that's part of one of the things that you can find in the toolkit. Is there's copies of all of the logos and copies of lots of different different printouts that you can use. I really like the relationship spectrum. That's a really great one to use with youth. So all of the logos and things you can find on the website. I'm sorry, on the toolkit, which I promise we will release today. And I'm surprised it wasn't available, and I apologize for that. All right. So Tamitra asked how long you suggest an informational event to last. It really depends on your audience, and it depends what activities you're doing. But I'd say an hour of actual content is about the max that somebody will do. I'd say maybe an hour event, and give a little cushion of 15, 20 minutes on either side for people to mingle. But I'd say, an hour is probably the max of actual content that people will be able to absorb. But of course, if it's an informational setting, like an outreach or a tabling, you can be out there for several hours because it's different folks that are coming through. But if it's more of a discussion or something, the concentration times of folks, begin to after an hour or two. Do we have any other questions? Great. Well, if you think of anything, you can always email or call me or any of our staff at Break the Cycle. And we'll be having a webinar in 2 weeks' time about what we'll be hosting and what you can plug into that Break the Cycle is already doing. I saw some really great events that you guys were already planning. If you're more than welcome to use the Team DV Month website to promote them. We want to see what everyone's doing around Team DV Month. So please add your event to our map so that folks can see what's happening around the country. And they can plug into your event, or just we can see all the great things that are happening. So definitely use that feature. Great. Well, I'll let you have time. Please fill out our little survey and tell us how we're doing. Thank you, everyone.
So, Nicole, it looks like there might be one more.
All conference hosts have hung up. This conference is over. Thank you.